The Ukrainian army has entered a new phase in its fight against Russia's invasion attempt. The reports published today by the British intelligence revealed very important facts. Immediately after this report, there was another explosion in Russia today. As Anchor News, we have prepared the latest developments, reports, and analyses on the war between Ukraine and Russia for you. Here are the latest developments. The Ukrainian army launched new operations after it managed to halt the Russian advance. The Ukrainian army first bombarded military bases in the regions occupied by Russia. During these operations, the Russian army suffered very serious losses. Russia was forced to withdraw from most of the occupied territories. The war has now spread to Russian territory. Intelligence reports prepared by the British Ministry of Defense contain striking information on this issue. According to the reports, Russia is making great efforts to increase its air defenses, but without success. The following statements were used in the report. Russia has long placed a very high priority on maintaining its advanced ground-based air defenses, but it is becoming increasingly clear that Russia is struggling to counter air threats from deep within. This threat has grown even more after the operation on the Engels airbase. The drone attack on the Engels airbase in Russia's Saratov region has completely changed the course of the war. Using drones, the Ukrainian army carried out a very important operation against Russia's most strategic airbase. As a result of this operation, many Russian aircraft were damaged. 3 Russian soldiers were also killed. After this incident, security measures were increased at all military bases in Russia. Airplanes belonging to the Russian army were towed to hangars. Russian soldiers experienced a great panic. The Ukrainian army continued its operations. Today, a new drone operation was carried out at the Engels base. Citizens living in the area say that a very strong explosion was heard. However, the outcome of the operation is not yet known. Russian authorities claim that the Ukrainian army drone was destroyed. However, the Ukrainian government's statements are not reliable, because Russia claims that all Ukrainian attacks have failed. But the truth is emerging on the battlefield. No one trusts the Kremlin's statements. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry has not yet released any information about the operation. Everyone is eagerly waiting for a statement from Ukrainian authorities. It was very important that this operation was carried out immediately after the statement from the UK. It is thought that Ukraine will continue to carry out new operations against military bases in Russia. Ukrainians are quite brave in this regard. Today, news of another fire in Russia shook the country. A ship caught fire in St. Petersburg, one of the biggest cities of Russia. The oil tanker Arktika was ready to depart from the port of St. Petersburg. However, a huge fire broke out at this time. The oil-laden ship burst into flames in a short time. This fire caused a great panic in the port of St. Petersburg. Other ships in the harbor were immediately removed from the area. It is known that millions of dollars worth of oil were destroyed by the fire on this fuel tanker. However, the cause of the fire has not yet been revealed. The Russian press says that this fire may have been set by the Ukrainian military. Yesterday, a fire broke out on one of the biggest ships of the Russian Navy. The Russian aircraft carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov, caught fire while being launched from the pools where it was taken for maintenance. Due to the fire on the ship, maintenance work has resumed. It turned out that the aircraft carrier will not be able to go to sea for another month. Russia has been trying to fight fires for a long time. Fires are breaking out one after another in the center of Moscow, in large shopping malls, and on strategic ships in Russian ports. The Russian fire brigade cannot catch up with any of these fires. Black smoke is constantly filling the sky in Russia due to the fires that last for hours. Because of these fires and explosions in Russia, there is a great chaos in the country. Russian President Vladimir Putin made very bold statements before this war started. Putin claimed that the war would be over in a few days and that no Russian soldier would be harmed. But as a result of the great success of the Ukrainian army, the damage to the Russian army has increased. Putin cannot even provide security in his country anymore. The successive explosions in Russia are also affecting the course of the war. There are two reasons for this. First of all, these explosions are scaring the Russian people. Russian citizens are tired of seeing black smoke and hearing news of fires. No Russian civilians have been harmed in any operation by the Ukrainian army so far, but the Russian people are still scared. There are constant calls for this war to end as soon as possible. This pressure from Russian citizens is also affecting the Kremlin administration. Many senior Kremlin officials think that Russia should withdraw from this war. The second reason is much more important for Putin. The explosions in Russia are doing a lot of damage to Putin's reputation. Putin is seen as a leader who has failed to ensure security in his country. This makes the Russian people very angry with Putin. Russian people do not trust Putin. Putin, who is losing his reputation day by day, is unable to prevent these explosions. NATO member states have sent the most advanced weapons to Ukraine. Against these weapons, the Russian army can do nothing. Putin is completely helpless. Especially Bayraktar drones are completely changing the course of this war. These drones, which can fly at a very high altitude, cannot be stopped by Russia's air defense systems. By using these drones, the Ukrainian army can establish a huge superiority over the Russian army. Bayraktar drones produced in Turkey have become Putin's worst nightmare. The Ukrainian army used these drones to continuously track the Russian army. The plans and attacks of the Russian soldiers were exposed in advance. This directly affected the success of the Ukrainian army in the war. It is claimed that these drones were also used in the explosions in Russia. However, the claim that all explosions were caused by drones is not true. There are also many claims about the outbreak of fires. However, there are so many fires in Russia that it is not possible to uncover the truth. The Russian government claims that all of these fires are accidental. The Russian press continues to investigate the facts. Intelligence units of other countries are also preparing reports to find out the method by which these fires are started. When these reports are prepared, Anka News will tell its followers all the details. What do you think about these explosions in Russia? Do you think the explosions at Russian military bases will continue? Do you trust the information in the British intelligence reports? How do you think these operations affect the course of the war? What do you think is the purpose of the ship fires in Russia? Do you think Russia will withdraw from this war? Share your views with us. Follow us for more updates.